Actually, I think I missed it. Well, now we're live. Welcome, everybody.
That was a great intro, Trey. Well done.
Let's try it again. Welcome to Word on the Street, powered by Lean Solutions Group. How's everybody doing today?
Awesome.
Not good now.
Oh, good.
I'm not saying it again.
We wasted the good surprise.
Solid.
Not doing it again.
Solid.
Not doing it again. So coming to you today from Louisville, Kentucky. Got here yesterday, and I'm going to spend an extra day here today. This morning, got to go to the Louisville Slugger Bat Factory with the girls. So if you've never done that, very cool. It's a working factory. You can see how they make the bats. It's pretty incredible. So really enjoy that.
Do they still do the stadium tour with that, Trey?
They didn't today, and maybe that was something we just didn't purchase because the stadium's not actually close. It's it's several blocks away, maybe half a mile or something like that. But it was still really cool. It was pretty exciting. So it looks like a lot of us are.
Papa John's?
Am I eating at Papa John's?
No, I mean Louisville just loves their Papa John's.
Is it really? Okay,
Well,
that's good to know because Friday is our pizza movie night, so we're gonna do pizza tonight. So maybe we'll
There's nothing. The Papa John's in Louisville is the same shitty pizza it is anywhere else.
Oh, is it?
Nothing special.
Nothing better? Oh, that's
No.
disappointing. I guess maybe we want to do that. I actually like Papa John's. I like the garlic sauce. Is that maybe that's the only thing I like it for? It's very saucy pizza. Very saucy.
Yeah, but if you want pizza and you have to have a sauce to make yourself like it, is it good pizza?
Well, isn't sauce an integral part of the pizza?
Not garlic butter on the side.
Well, that's just a dip at the end. That's just for the dipping. That's all.
Wait, so you do pizza night every Friday, and every Friday you don't tip the pizza guy, Trey?
No. Every Friday I go pick it up myself.
Oh, okay.
All right. I don't have it delivered. All right. Let's not go back to that conversation last week.
We immediately got back into pizza. I thought we were
story arc that we have.
That's right. We do have pizza movie night every Friday night. Typically, we go pick it up. Sometimes we make our own. Very rarely have we had it delivered. In fact, my niece lived with us for the last 6 months, and she's a Domino's lover, and she literally had Domino's delivered like probably 3 nights a week. And it was like we'd never had that before. So that was kind of the first that we'd really had pizza delivered, and it wasn't even me. So we always go pick it up. We usually pick up some other things while we're out. Like we might pick up a little ice cream or something like that. So just to make it good. Speaking of healthy, we're talking about working out beforehand. Yeah, that's what we do on Friday nights. We just live it up. Oh, hey, I think Rhonda's here. Let's pull Rhonda in.
Rhonda's good in.
Yeah, she's coming in. And everybody's got their camera on today. Nick, what's up, buddy? How are you?
I can't tell you guys I had my vaccine today. So
you did? First or second?
It's my first, and luckily it was the Pfizer, not the AstraZeneca. So everybody on the 40 here gets the Pfizer. So no, I'm all good. Like nothing dodgy going on. Just
able to directly connect via the microchip next. So I'm very excited.
That's right. We'll have to use a computer.
That's how my connection is very good right now.
Yep. Yeah.
Just 5G in there. Yeah.
Right by your vocal cords. Very close. Yeah, it's impressive. Exactly. Nice. Rhonda, how are you?
Great. How's everybody doing?
Sporting the Global Trans shirt. I like it.
Sorry, I'm a little tardy. I was getting a checkup in the
you
clinic.
You and me both. I was driving at noon Central today while starting the program. I just want to tell you, I can do multiple things at one time. So it was pretty impressive.
So Starbucks there all stocked? Because I hear they're having some issues.
I have no idea. I didn't actually go in. I was literally just on here to, use their Wi-Fi. I'm just stealing the Wi-Fi. That's it. Nothing else. Just stealing the Wi-Fi. So that's kind of how it goes. So what's going on in everybody's world? Greg Roberts, what's up, man? How are you?
Hey, doing all right. How's everybody doing?
I'm good. How is the Boy Scout and your family doing? You guys got any more activities coming up? Camping trips, summer camping trips?
We did a family camp last weekend. It was fantastic. And then this weekend with the Scouts, we've got the a reverse parade, which it's going to be chaos. It's going to be however many kids inside of a couple of parking spots and just going crazy. But that's kind of what Boy Scouts is anyway, or Cub Scouts at least is anyways. So it'll be fun.
So what is a reverse parade exactly? I'm not familiar with that.
It's in a parking lot, and we're going to be in, we get assigned a couple of parking spaces for the pack. and we're setting up our float or whatever it is. And then the cars drive by us. So we're not walking in a parade where people can see us. We set up camp and then they walk by or they drive by us.
Dude, that seems so much easier. When I was a kid, we had Raytown Roundup days, and we had to walk about a 2-mile path behind the float that we had to create. That was a lot of work, and this seems way better.
Yeah, but that gave him something to do. Like we're sitting there and we're in the planning for the for our float. And it's like instead of having the kids walk along and wave and maybe give them a few toys to play with, it's like, how are we going to occupy these 5 to 10-year-olds for 2 hours? And so it'll be fun. We got some activities for them and it'll be a good time. So
that's cool. It almost sounds like a
Different.
trunk or treat type of situation you got going on there.
very similar. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Awesome. What else is going on? What are you guys doing out there this weekend? Anything good happening?
I got divorced. It was final last night at midnight. So I've had everybody, we move a lot of bourbons and whiskeys, and I've had a lot of people bring me samples. So fantastic weekend ahead.
Nice. So going to be celebrating in full effect.
Absolutely. Already
What it
started.
sounds like. Already started. How long was that process?
With COVID, it took over 1.5 years,
Holy.
which we were married for 3 years, no kids, no nothing. And my lawyer wanted it over. I wanted it over. She wanted it over. But I really think her lawyer wanted to, send all the emails and phone calls he could over time and just bill the crap out of her, which fine. I didn't have to pay for it. So
Yeah. Wow. You would think that would have been a pretty easy one. You probably should have been able to do that in a weekend. Get all that taken care of. Crazy. Well, enjoy your weekend, I guess. So, whatever you plan on doing in that regard. Juan, what's going on in Columbia? Everything is wide open, right?
Yep, we're back to normal,
Yep.
just like that. They
Are you
snapped
having
the
a
fingers and
surge?
everything's
having
working again.
Having any
I'm in the
problems
street.
down
I'm outside. I'm outside.
there? Oh my gosh. I was talking to a lot of our team members down there, and some of them were like, I'm not going to go out for a while. I'm just going to hang out for a little bit. And others are like you, like, please get me out of here. I got to go. So
Yeah, right.
definitely pretty
I
crazy.
met with them yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Nice. You see all
Pretty
the
fun
guys
guys,
down there?
man. I met Tyler.
You met Tyler. Yeah. Tyler's,
Mm-hmm.
he's an animal. Yeah. Absolute animal. So,
I didn't believe him
very
when
cool.
he told me that he was a football player, and then when I saw him, I was like, "Oh, this dude was a football player."
Yeah,
Definitely.
he's a legit football player. That is correct. He is significantly larger than I am. I don't take pictures with him because I look really small when I'm with him. So that's
We'll pump the brakes there, player. Now I'm offended.
I got to do what's in my best interest, Robert. I mean,
Man.
can't take pictures with giants. I mean, it doesn't work for me.
Whatever.
So, anyways, hey, well, let's transition to our first segment today. We're going to do a little Black History Month celebrated year round. Kind of really cool one today. I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see this. So I was doing a little research on African Americans in the press and newspapers, because if you're honest about it, if you watch news or if you listen to a lot of radio or even read newspapers, the majority of the people that you see are white. There's not a lot of there's some more people of color now that are obviously in the industry, which is great. But if you look historically, especially if you look at the evening news with back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, CBS, NBC, ABC, you just didn't see that, and so you might think that there wasn't a presence. But the truth is there was. Robert Abbott was one of those guys. He was born to slave parents from St. Simon Island, Georgia, and then after they got out of slavery, they went to Chicago. And he grew up in Chicago, and he started the Chicago Defender, which you can kind of read through this. I'm going to put this website here into the chat box so you guys can check it out later on. But he started the Chicago Defender and spoke a lot on racial issues, spoke a lot on equality. And this was back in the early 1900s. He started this in 1905. He worked it for a long time, and after about 15 years, 1920 or so, became profitable. And that paper continued on after his ownership and became one with a pretty significant distribution there in Chicago. He was a lawyer. educated at Kent Law School, and just a really significant player when it comes to media aspect of quality and talking about social issues way back in the 1900s. But again, you just don't hear a lot about some of those movements. So really cool figure in history to study. Something you guys can check out over the weekend. Again, it's really neat to kind of read about his life and what he did. So pretty neat person in history, Robert Abbott, and you guys can check that out. I'll put it in the chat box right now. There you go. So enjoy that this weekend, reading about him and others that have made an impact in media in the United States. Any comments? Any questions? Any concerns?
That's awesome. That's so cool. Thank you for sharing that.
It's neat to read about things that, there's so much out there, and a lot of times it's just not mainstream. It's just not out in the forefront. As you start doing research, start looking for different figures in history, you start to realize that there's an entire subculture that just doesn't get any publicity or press, but did tremendous things in our culture and our society. So really cool to check that out and see. And so definitely enjoy that this week. What's going on in produce season? Let's talk about transportation real quick. What's happening with rates and produce season and where things are headed with that? I saw a couple other news reports about volumes not going to be slowing down anytime soon, which we all already concluded we thought was going to happen, but data is starting to prove that. So what's happening out there? What are you guys seeing?
I don't see produce season affecting rates. Rates are already as high as they're going to be.
I really push any higher, pulling a few trucks off.
I saw a $14,500 reefer load from Los Angeles to Atlanta yesterday. It's not produce, just frozen meat. It went through our system. I mean, and we're paying between 10 to 15 on those, and we're getting a lot more than that from customers. I don't see produce carriers backing off the reefer rates on frozen freight to move to produce. And I personally see a produce issue arising. If that makes sense.
You think the JBS hack is going to also affect that?
Yeah.
I was going to say, was that meat from JBS? Was that a part of the settlement? Yeah, that's crazy. That's a lot of money. Good, nice. What is that per mile? That's about a 4,000 mile trip, 5,000 mile trip.
Hold on, I'll show you. I'll figure it out. Keep going. I'll come back.
That's crazy. That's high. That's nuts. Yeah, I saw that. I saw the port issues. Are still kind of the same struggle. Ships out of bay and all that. That's not going to change too much, but pretty crazy what's happening right now. Any other news, Greg? What are you seeing in your world?
I mean, it's similar. It's the rates are being pressed so high that it's much more being driven by supply and demand than I know produce hits, supply and demand, but I usually around February, you hear drivers start telling you that and claiming that produce is hitting. And so rates need to go up. I haven't heard nearly as much of that this year. It's simply, here's the rate, right? And that's, it's not, well, here's the rate because of this or that or the other. It's here's the rate because that's what I feel like telling you today, right?
Take it or leave it.
Yeah. And
so it was $6.71 a mile on that, according to McLeod. I looked, it did have one stop in Kansas City, but I'm sure if
$6.71 a mile though.
I could probably make that stop work financially myself.
At Trey's house?
No. Drop half of it up front.
Greg, I completely agree. I completely agree with what Greg's saying. It's kind of right now, and what I've been doing is when I talk to my customers, hey, here's your option to get a truck today. Here's what it'll cost. If you want to keep your rate where it is, I can let you know when I get a call. If I get calls, I can send you their option and you can take it or leave it. But if you want to move it, here's what it's going to cost. And I'd rather just be upfront and let them know. I'm not going to take the front and commit to it and then fail on it, because at the end of the day, like we all know, it's just relationships and you can ruin them really quick in this market.
So here's my question. All right. We've had elevated rates for 12 months now, 14 months, pretty elevated rates overall, continuing to kind of escalate as the the vaccine stuff and all that went out. I have a couple of questions. At what point, are shippers going to be like, are they going to look for alternatives to do this and not go along with what's happening? Number one. Number two is, if they're able to pay $17,000 to move a load of meat from LA to Atlanta at what used to cost them $8, how much money are these companies making?
Well, first of all, the load that I sent was Wagyu beef from China. So or Japan. It's, the truck had, let's just say the insurance rider on that truck was extremely high. And it's also a truck that load requires a team. It's like when you ship the Sony stuff, the PlayStations.
Yeah.
You got to have 2 guys in the truck. You can't do it with one person. It's not
armed escorts, 200 in, 200 out.
right.
Yeah. So there's a lot more to it than just that. Okay.
Oh yeah. But it's still a lot of money. I hate bringing politics into anything, but eventually,
it. Let's go.
When we stop handing out checks to people and giving them expendable income, where your normal guy that's going to take his family to Wendy's on a Friday and get a Dave's special now goes to Costco and buys a Wagyu steak. Because they have extra expendable money and they don't know how to save it. But also, it's not going to be the shipper that pulls the plug, because the money they're making right now is crazy. The shippers make money too. A lot of customers that I have, their transportation departments have a P&L just like anybody else. They can make money. And it's going to, once it hits the end customer and those rates start rising to the end customer, and that customer says, every single person on this call has a limit of something. I'm only going to pay this much for this. Well, once we get too many people at that limit, things change.
Yeah. I've reached that limit on wood. I've got a couple house projects that I'm literally pushing off till next summer because I'm thinking this will cost me 30% less if I just wait.
The average, I'm looking at, so I've got some rental homes, and on a back deck on one of the houses that I have, I'm going to have to redo the back deck. I was talking to a contractor, $24,000 extra this year to build a house because of lumber.
Yep.
Any home you want to build, average 1,200 square foot home, not a big house, $24,000.
And that's just for the lumber. I mean,
it's with timber and raw steel. We see that as well here, where some of the construction projects I was involved in, the ones that were just done now are 30% cheaper than the ones that are coming through now. 30% uplift just on raw materials. And it's not just the cost, it's the lead times as well. The lead times are way longer. So your program is longer and your costs are bigger. So clients are holding off.
And it goes down to the household level. I mean, anybody can say, hey, I want to redo my bathroom, but that's fantastic. You want to do tile on it? Try and find somebody that'll do it.
Yeah. Well, I built this bike rack in the back of my minivan so that we could have the bikes inside the van this year instead of on the outside for the RV. And so I basically had 2 pieces of wood, and then I had some other pieces of wood that are built in for the tires to sit in. And I'm literally scrounging around my garage. I called my father-in-law, hey, do you have any extra boards sitting around your house? Fortunately, he did. Because I'm thinking to myself, I'm not going to go pay $9 a board to build this little bike rack that I need to put in the back of my car. So I was just scrounging, looking for any scraps that I had, and I made it work without having to go to the Home Depot. And that's literally the feeling that I have is I don't even want to go buy 3 boards or 2 boards, because it's just absolutely nuts, And to your point, Nathan, the government handing out money to people, especially to people who probably don't need it, who are working, but also those who aren't working, and they're buying more stuff. It's just creating a demand of inventory that just continues, just cycle, So
we have over 200 drivers that, we do all the logistics for Volkswagen here in Chattanooga, and we have over 200 drivers that do that project, that work on that. Volkswagen's closed for 4 months because they can't get chips. The drivers are all at home. They're getting paid more right now because of the government kick-in than they would be if they were actually working. So
what's going to be incentive to them to come back? Yeah.
I don't know. Well,
that's crazy.
That's kind of our hot button this week.
I feel like we're in a little bit of a perfect storm from a government perspective, because you've got right now you have a lot of people not working, making it hard for people to find work. So what are a lot of people doing? I mean, we're growing like crazy. Juan's probably seen an uptick as well. Nearshoring, offshoring is increasing. And then what's going to happen is when those people go back to get their job, that job's not going to be there anymore. It's going to be, somewhere else in the world, because now the global workforce is becoming an even bigger play now than it was before, and that's going to cause more people to stay on the government payroll. I mean, it's like a perfect storm that could just kind of cycle out of control. I could see that happening.
What scares me,
Pretty wild.
it scares me the amount of imports. It's always been a lot, but the amount of imports recently makes me feel like we're dying as a company or as a country, and the power that we have seeing all the stuff that just was made here and it's not anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy. And just everybody's buying a
The
bigger
tweets were
TV.
so mean. The tweets were just so mean. Isn't it better now?
Oh, Robert.
I gotta take
I
this.
actually saw a meme that said something about, just kind of reporting on where we are as a country. And then it said, but at least there aren't any mean tweets going out right now, which is not true. Actually, there's still a lot of mean tweets going out, but just not from that one particular.
But they're directed at the people that should get mean tweets. All those bad people that, do things.
Oh, we should move on. All right. So let's transition to something else. So I don't have any polls today, and as you can probably imagine why. I was trying to find a good spot for us to hang out today. So there's no polls. We're just going to chit chat about a few things. So I thought we should go ahead and transition to This Week in Pictures. We got some good stuff this week. We actually have some extended version of This Week in Pictures. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And we're going to start with the one and only. What? We're going to start with the one and only Robert Bain. Hang on, let me get this ready here. Hang on. Not quite ready. Where are we at here? There we go. There we go. All right, Robert. You need to tell us what's going on in this picture, in this video.
Sure.
Set it up.
So if anybody has seen, I have changed my moniker on LinkedIn to the strongest man in logistics. Figure I need to back that up. So as many of you know, I powerlift outside of work. And one of the things I've been doing is transitioning to what they call equipped or geared lifting. I am in this picture wearing a specialty squat suit, as well as a pair of specialty squat briefs and knee wraps. I have not had knee wraps on my knees in 4 years because I typically don't use them. This is my first time ever in a squat suit, and there's 1,009 pounds on that bar.
How long does it take you to get in and out of that suit?
Not very long, actually, which is interesting because they are usually very, very tight. I can get into my briefs in under 2 minutes, and I can have the suit on in call it another minute, but then actually cinching it up takes probably 6 to 10 minutes.
Do you have to have help to get it off?
I do have to have help get my briefs off. Not a ton, but which people think it's funny, but honestly, the old canvas squat suits, it would take 4 guys to get those off. So I can do most of the stuff on my own.
Do the knee wraps hurt when they're that tight?
Pain's relative.
Pain don't hurt.
I mean, it's it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel great, but the process of putting 1,000 pounds on my back and squatting it,
right?
That's
all relative.
It's all relative, right? So the context on all this is for most people that start into this gear, they can't even get to legal squat depth the first time they're in the gear.
Right.
Which is your thighs have to be parallel to the ground or a little lower?
Your hip crease has to be below the top of your knee.
All right.
So if you put your leg up on a chair, that crease in your hip has to be below the top of your knee.
Okay, you guys ready to see this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go. Let's see if you pull it off. Good music going. All right.
Never fear.
I love the face. I love the face. That was awesome, man.
So I wish they would have kept it going because I came sprinting out of the rack screaming, "Tell them all I'm effing coming." The reason I did that is the largest drug tested squat in my weight class, 275-pound weight class, ever. Any division like or any federation, whatever around the world, whatever, is 1,003 pounds. And my first time in a suit, I threw on 1,009.
Wow.
That's awesome. So are you going to be on a wall somewhere? You get a plaque for this? Like, what are we going to see?
Well, this is just practice, so this doesn't matter. But
when you go to a meet, you do this, so you're going to get something, right? Yeah.
The goal in December is we are going to go after the all-time, all-weight class, whatever, drug-tested squat, which is 1107. So I need to squat 1113 to take that, and then I'll have to total at least 2455. And that would give me the all-time drug-tested multiply record, all weight classes, anybody. And would also qualify me for the biggest show in powerlifting, which is the WPO, which I have been the platform manager for the last 3 years on.
Wow.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. Really cool.
And when is this going to take place?
So the meet will be in December. The semifinals for the WPO is in March. The gentleman who produces the WPO has now brought his camera crew. They're going to start chronicling this whole journey as kind of a side story to a huge documentary he's doing. If you ever want to see the first documentary, it's called West Side vs. the World. Same guy who produced that is also filming us. He's been walking around the neighborhood with me and my dog and kind of following this whole thing for the last couple of weeks.
Hey, Rob, do you ever watch the show Alone? I forget what channel it's on. Alone. No. So contestants go into the wilderness, wherever, and whoever lasts the longest gets like $50,000.
Yep.
You totally could do that. I totally
why do you
see
say that?
you doing that.
Why do you say
just your mentality. Like nothing stops you.
Yeah, but the protein Rob needs. You can find
it's a gram per pound. It's not tough. It was interesting. Right before this, one of my teammates, the gentleman in the blue shorts to the left on the screen, his name's Steve Brock. He's one of the most intense individuals I've ever met. He's yelling at me, screaming in my face, "What do you want?" And all I said is, "I just want him to know my name." Just want.
Well, let's get it done. Let's go.
Oh, exactly.
That's awesome.
Fucking go.
Awesome.
That is awesome. Well, congratulations on that. I think the face that you're making in this picture is the same face my wife made during childbirth. It's something very similar.
The pressure is intense. I've got.
It's all coming back to me now.
Yeah. My wife noticed the day after the blood vessels in my eyes from like the whites all the way around, all the way to my pupils. What is like it's red. It's like not like bloodshot. It's like as red as Greg's shirt.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, congratulations on that, man.
That face looks like me after a drunk night with Taco Bell.
It'd be that way
sometimes. All right. Okay, so in other news, not so exciting as that is, this is what I found when I went to turn my sprinklers on this year. Ooh. That is a cracked backflow preventer. And I now have to get a new backflow preventer. So not excited about that. I found that out 3 days before I left on my trip when I was going to turn my sprinklers on to water the grass while I'm gone. And that's what I found out. So I had to talk to the irrigation company today by phone while they were out there to tell them what was going on. So not exciting news, but things happen. Also in the world this week, we started our RV trip, everybody. This is the crew right before we left. We got a little Tiger in there. Of course, my daughter, Naomi, Hannah, my wife, Tammy, and I. This is us out front of our house about to head out. We actually got the chance to take a picture this year because my niece lives with us. So we had an extra hand. Last year, we did not get a picture like this because we were just heading out on our own. So that happened. Let me tell you a little bit about what we've been up to so far. Yeah, go ahead, Nick.
Are you towing your car this time, right?
We are. Oh yeah. Everywhere we go, we've got the van.
You got the handbrake on or off?
Do what?
Do you have the handbrake on or off this time?
We have it off, my friend. We actually have a checklist now, and the only item that's bolded on the checklist is remove the parking brake. That's the only one that's bold, so that we don't have the same issue that we had last year. Justin Shepard's back in the house, everybody. Give it up for Justin Shepard. What's up, bro? Mr. Lyrics is with us. Speaking of which, I gave some of you some names this week just because I was bored, and I thought, well, what would kind of make the most sense? Some of them are good, some of them are not. My favorite is Erin's, who's not on here. She's Time Bomb. And I just thought that was appropriate because at any moment she could snap at her family at the house. I thought that was kind of fun. But anyways, Justin, good to see you, man. Great
to see you guys.
we're going through some pictures on the road trip that started yesterday. This was yesterday when we left the house. And so we were heading out. We do have the parking brake off on the car that we're pulling. The car is how I got to Starbucks. So I wasn't rolling up here in the RV. So I got here in the car today, which is great. So this is what it looks like when we're driving down the road. I'm working. The girls are doing whatever they're doing. A lot of times sleeping. My wife is driving. This was yesterday. She drove for a couple hours as we got started. And then I drive nights and weekends. So this is the office away from home, which is a lot of fun. And it's a good time. This is me, obviously, driving down the road, having a great time. Just let you guys know to see what it looks like to be me on the road. All right. Moving on. This is what you see on the road, and this is this picture does not do this justice, but this was one of the most beautiful sunsets probably I've ever seen. The colors are so dynamic around this one little thin cloud that was going across, so we just had to take a picture of it. This is in Louisville, Kentucky, so beautiful place here, beautiful picture. This is this morning. Took my daughters to Louisville Slugger Factory. If you've never been there, well worth going to that. I'm going to show you a couple pictures from this today. So these are the bats representing every team. They have one player that they represent every team. We got Tommy Edman for our St. Louis Cardinals, but you can see Christian Yelich and a lot of other really good players on here. So these are their actual bats. They didn't let us touch these, believe it or not, because these bats are actually the ones that they're making for those players. My daughter is very excited about Tommy Edman being represented there. This is a pretty cool montage. I didn't know this. The Louisville Slugger Company didn't start as a Louisville Slugger Company. Some of you may already know that, but I did not know that. It actually started at the Hellerich Bradsby Company. These gentlemen were the ones who first started making bats back in the 1870s, 1880s for professional baseball players back in the Pennsylvania, New York era. They made the bats for Babe Ruth and for a lot of other significant players throughout history. This machine right here is actually the machine that makes the bats, but the reason I took the picture was because they had professionals who have visited the park sign this, including one of my favorites of all time, George Brett from the Kansas City Royals, Cal Ripken Jr. up here, who just visited recently. So pretty cool they get him to sign the machine. So that was pretty awesome. I got to hold Ozzie Smith's bat there. So there we go. And Rhonda, I'm working on this right here. I'm working on the fat right there. I'm working on it right now. I've got a 50-day process to get it down before we're done. So I'll be working out. Then they had some really cool Lego stuff, everybody. So this is the St. Louis Cardinals Lego hat, but that's just the start. Check this out. This is Busch Stadium and Legos, and I really wanted to take this home. This is tremendous. So pretty cool picture of Busch Stadium with a brick on the outside. So pretty awesome. All right, Nick, get out of here for dinner or stick around, stay on there, and jump back on whenever you can. All right, so now we're going to go to some news. So that was the Louisville Slugger Factory. If you get a chance to do that, make sure you do it. We're going to the Kentucky Derby tomorrow. We're going to the Derby Museum. And then we're going to the Muhammad Ali Museum as well. And then we're heading on to West Virginia. But in some other news, Peru is having their presidential elections right now, which is pretty fascinating. They've got a socialist, and then they have a conservative candidate. Pedro Castillo is the socialist, who has promised to, check this out, Juan would appreciate this, reconstitute the government. They're going to rip up the Constitution and start over. I still can't believe that is a thing, that as the president, you can come in and just rip up the Constitution and start over. And he's promised to take more profits from all the mining countries, but he promises it will not be like Venezuela. So that's interesting. He's actually in the lead right now. So we'll see what happens. And then Keiko Fujimori is a conservative, and she is promising more of the same. But the problem is her father was president at one point and didn't do the best job. And so she's dealing with some of that. And so she's actually losing by a margin that's too close to call. So this is going to look and feel probably a lot like the U.S. presidential election from 2020. Very interesting news. Mark Zuckerberg is going to work 6 months out of the year remote, and Facebook has embraced remote working. We just saw also Andrew Silver from Molo. You guys may have seen this on LinkedIn, who said he's going to give his employees the option all the time to do whatever they want. They can work from home. They can come to the office. They can come to the office 2 days a week, 3 days a week, whatever. And I think that's probably going to become the norm. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? You think it'll be the norm?
Well, we rolled out our new policy as of September after Labor Day. It's going to be pretty much a hybrid model, with the exception of those that really want to work it remotely. You know, they have to speak with their manager depending on their role, but yeah, not in person anymore here.
So it's not an open policy. We got more structure to it, but people have to basically pick one. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. And only a limited number of people will be able to work remotely moving forward. That's interesting. It's going to be really fascinating to see how people go back, if they go back, and then again, what are we going to do with all this real estate? Because everything's been on hold right now. Most real estate has been on hold until people figured out what they were doing. And now, if they don't come back, what are they going to do with those buildings? Are they going to be used for commercial purposes? They're going to be repurposed for residential. It's going to be fascinating. But laser tag, indoor climbing,
A lot of new
all
golf
kinds of good
courses
stuff.
for you, Trey.
Didn't Amazon do something as well with their employees, giving them the hybrid model?
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I really think that a lot of these companies are going to do that, especially when you see companies like Facebook and Google. It's the ones that are doing more intellectual type work as opposed to manual labor. I think a lot of them are going to follow that route, without a doubt. So we saw that this week. So we'll see what happens to that. Where do you think Zuckerberg's going to work from? What are some places he's going to be? He's probably not going to be at Starbucks in Louisville, Kentucky.
He'll be on the moon.
Yeah, he's gonna
Musk,
be on.
they're flying up there.
Right. That'd be pretty sick for him to spend a week up there and work. I wonder what that'd be like. I don't know. So that's going on. So this is one that's interesting. We talked about divorce earlier, Nathan. This is one that happened with obviously child custody, child support and custody issues. So this is pretty fascinating. The final child support payment that a dad made was in pennies, 80,000 pennies. The guy made and dropped it off for his wife. So there may be a little bitterness still lingering in that relationship, I would imagine. But I thought that was pretty comical. And what would you do?
The best one I've ever seen was the father had to pay child support, and he got those custom checks, and the background was the picture of him and his new wife. So when he wrote the check, it was a picture every time.
There's probably some pretty good stories about that out there.
Yeah.
But, the lengths that people will go just to get back at somebody. But I thought 80,000 pennies was pretty comical. Can you imagine going to the bank and saying, I need 80,000 pennies? And they're like, what for? Don't worry about it. I just need them. I mean, this guy had to stop at multiple locations. There's no way a bank had 80,000 pennies, in the vault. So this guy's just stopping around, just cashing in, dollars for two packages of pennies, or however many are 50, if they're 50 cents in each one. But anyways, I thought that was pretty crazy. So saw that in the news this week. Next, also, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Trey. So is that what 80,000 pennies looks like? I would expect it to be bigger.
I'm going to
Or
guess
more.
this is what 80,000 pennies looks like. I don't know if the picture is real or not. I just saw the news story. I thought, well, this is interesting. I'm going to go ahead.
Hey, how much does that cooler cost, you think?
60,000 pennies.
Is that in the cost of the 80,000?
Yeah, 60,000 pennies.
No,
That's
he's a
$600.
divorced dad. You don't think he's got coolers laying around in his house? That's a goat.
That's a coach. He's upgrading. He's upgrading that week for that one for sure. So we saw this as well. So cruising is back, and I'm so hopeful that this works out. We have a cruise plan for January that was supposed to be last March, and it's scheduled finally for this January, basically 2 years later. But we also saw that right away 2 passengers on the Celebrity Millennial Cruise test positive for COVID-19. So that's going to be really interesting. It's fascinating because the cruise ships, who was it? The government wanted the cruise ships to have 95% vaccinated and 5% not vaccinated, which I asked my wife, how do I get in 5%, crowd? Can I sign up for that? I mean, how do you do that? But that was the plan. But then some in the government said, no, this isn't right. You can't have cruise ships asking for statuses and things like that. So now it's probably going to end up in a court of law at some point in a lawsuit. But I thought it was fascinating that one of the first cruises, we already have 2 positive tests, not boding well for what's going to happen. So we'll see what happens in that regard. However, I will say this: if I do get quarantined on a cruise ship for an extra 2 weeks, I would not be terribly upset about that. Some people might. I would not be terribly upset about that. That would not be the worst thing that would happen in my life.
Yeah, you would.
I don't know. It depends. Do I have to stay in my room the whole time?
Yeah.
You got to stay in your room.
Yeah.
They deliver food to you. It's absolutely the last thing you want.
And they take the amount you paid for the trip and divide it by how many days. So then you get your daily rate, and you have to continue to pay that no matter how long you stay. You don't get it free.
Okay. I didn't know that. That's not good. That's not cool. I wonder how many people in that situation would just jump off the balcony. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. hoping they could get it back. We'll see. I mean, it's at the dock, right? They're not out cruising, so try to jump in. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, you guys might have seen this on Twitter. There is this started trending on Twitter. This Jessica We Are Live started trending, and it came from this news outlet in Nambia. And what happened was the anchor was sending it out to the person who was live, but the anchor started like basically telling the story, like introducing the story way too much, and the reporter literally said, "No, you're not going to do that. You're just going to pass it to me, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to take it." So then the anchor says, "Jessica, we are live." So I thought that was kind of interesting, pretty funny to see that happening. We don't see a lot of those happen where there's rifts, there's beef online between reporters and anchors. It's almost like going back to the days of oh gosh, I can't think of it. What was that Jim Carrey movie with Steve Carell, Niagara Falls? He's a reporter. I can't even
Bruce
think of it.
Almighty.
Yes, Bruce Almighty. Thank you. Almost the days of then where there's a little rift between anchor and live. I thought that was kind of funny. So that was trending this week. We saw it happen. Then we also saw this happen. This is a crane that was damaged by several containers and maybe one cruise ship. I didn't know this. Do you guys know how much these cost to repair, to build? You may know. Want to take a guess?
80,000 pennies.
A little more. No guesses. All right. 2.1 billion pennies, $21.5 million to build and install a crane at the ports. How crazy is that? That's a lot of money. And this one came crashing down and took out some other cranes as well. So pretty significant development there. Plus, of course, this is not the time for this to be happening where we have port issues. But that was happening this week as well in the news. And then also with oil going up, $70 oil means, container, tanker and dry bulk shipping. How high do you guys think the price of oil is going to get? It's currently, the national average is $3.05 for gas. How high do you think it's going to get? Anyone?
Who knows?
I see I've lost everybody today on this one. Yeah, I just saw that and I thought, man, that's crazy. It's just going to keep going up. And I'm not happy about that with the RV. That's going to be a pretty expensive ticket.
I paid $277 yesterday.
Yeah, I did not. I paid $299 yesterday to fill the RV, which was not happy. Not happy about that. Pretty crazy. What is it in Phoenix, Rhonda?
For regular or
yeah.
Regular,
over
if you
three,
go
right?
if you go to Costco, it's $285. But it was
Okay.
higher than that. It was
That's pretty
$320.
similar to Birmingham.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Can somebody tell me this? Why is it less expensive to get gas in the middle of the country where it has to be shipped to and more expensive than like on the coast where a lot of the refineries are?
People
Anybody?
pay it
It's just market conditions. It's not.
because you can't go sit by a beach in Kansas.
That's true, but why does the fuel cost more? That's the question. I never really understood because it's got to cost more to get it to Missouri than it does to get it to Houston.
It all comes from the south, but it costs less sometimes the farther north you go. Baton Rouge always has expensive fuel, but literally it's made there. I don't know why.
I know. I can never figure out how that the economics of that works, but
it's like mid-grade fuel. I don't know why people buy that stuff. I don't even know why they buy it. It's just makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever bought anything other than just regular unleaded. I've never had a car nice enough that required it or whatever. But I don't know if I'd ever put that in there anyway. So, all right, everybody. Well, hey, listen, I have no more polls. I'm all out of stuff. I'm all out of content. What do you guys got? What's going on this week? Anybody do anything fun?
I'm a bachelor.
Justin, what's going on? You're a bachelor.
My wife is on a hike.
Oh, where's she at, Justin?
She is up on the North Carolina side of the Smokies. So she and a friend are doing a hike up there where they've got a kayak in like 4 hours
Oh, yeah.
and kayak back out.
That's actually what
Sounds
we're
awesome.
doing this weekend. We did,
Yeah.
we have those inflatable kayaks. So we have a double and then a single. So my husband carries all the crap with him in his kayak. So we did it last week, and I actually have blisters on my fingers because it was 5.5 hours. And we had a great time on the way out. We went 8.5 miles, and we were against the wind on the way back. I was
There's a
paddling
Bob
away.
Seger
And,
song about that.
huh?
There's a Bob Seger song about that. Against the wind. Come on, Trey.
Of course you'd know that song. That's right. Hey, so I feel bad. So Diana, how long have you been in the waiting room?
Oh,
I'm not going to tell you, Trey. I'll make you.
I thought that must have been Diana's comment in the Q&A.
Somebody should have said something. I was doing pictures, so I'm looking at one screen today. I didn't see I didn't see her sitting there. I feel so bad. Diana, what's going on?
Not much. Working and working.
So I have to say this. I think that your nickname should be Mother Hennessy. That was way better than what I came up with. That was so clever. We're definitely rolling with that. That's what we're going with, for sure. No, it's classic. That's so good because it captures so much about you. Like it's
Right.
multi-dimensional. Kyle would say it's tremendous. I mean, it's we need to get a logo going for this.
People are going to think I'm an alcoholic.
No, there's always a good story behind it, but I thought those were fun. I literally was bored. I was like, so here's how it worked out. Robert sends me that video and he goes, "I'm the strongest man in freight," to which I couldn't really deny that or contest that. I mean, that's got to be pretty close to being true. I can't imagine. Maybe we'll have a weightlifting, like a lift off at F3. We'll get Robert.
I'd say that it's between him and Greg.
Clearly, right. I mean, it's a toss.
If you go by per pound, maybe.
I don't.
Still
I don't
probably
know,
not.
Yeah, I don't know, because if you do 1,000, he weighs 2. I mean, he's at like 4.4 pounds, per 4.4 pounds lift. Yeah, 4.4 ratio, whatever. I don't know. What's your weight? 180? Could you do 720?
I'd have to see the gear. I've never powerlifted. I'm gonna put it out there. I don't think I would, but
yeah. We'll have a lift off at F3. But anyway, see, he claims he's the strongest man in freight. I couldn't deny it. Oh, you might get him on that because he's got a lot of weight to pull up. But anyways, he claims to be strongest man in freight. I was like, okay, you can't deny that. That's true. I was like, well, if he's gonna have a nickname, everyone else should have a nickname as well. So I figured I'd start coming up with some stuff, and I couldn't think of a ton of them. I didn't come up with one for myself. So you guys may have to come up with one for me if. Think about that because I wasn't sure about that. But
challenge accepted. Yes.
Challenge accepted. Next week, come with your submissions and we'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes with that.
Let's try to make a list.
That's kind of how it worked out.
There was a segment on the local news here, Trey. I thought of you. The people that work delivery service and all are complaining about tips.
Hey, no one forced them to take that job. All right. Nobody put a gun to their head and made them do it. They don't like the tips they can get out. You talk to their company about why they're not getting the delivery fee. I mean, there's just multiple things to be said about this. I went to Olive Garden on Saturday night, and guess what? There was no server fee on the bill. It was just the food, and then I tipped the waitress very. In fact, I tipped it very handsomely because she gave me a to-go cup of Andy's mints, probably 100 in there. Oh. And so she got tipped very handsomely that night. So that was good. So I'm not about I'm okay with tipping and being generous. I just don't like their business model. That's my thing. I just am not a fan of that. So
Right,
if I took out the delivery fee, I'd probably.
What if that's the only job that they can do or they can get right now?
Well,
man,
I'm sure with all the help wanted signs out there that there's other jobs they could get. I don't think.
I got your nickname. I got your nickname now. No tip and Trey. No tip and Trey.
no tip, Trey. Oh, I walked into that one. Well, that's great. Okay, well, everybody think of something else next week, and then we'll vote. And I'm the only one that votes. So that'd be great.
I'll put it out there.
Next week we'll be coming to you live from Mount Vernon, from the home of George Washington in Washington, D.C. So very excited about that. Between now and then, we'll be
Mount Vernon.
We'll see what their Wi-Fi is like. You never know; it might be good. But we'll be hitting Monticello, the home of Thomas Jefferson, as well as some James Madison stuff in Charlottesville on the way over. We're gonna go to Williamsburg and see some of the history down there with I think it's Jamestown. down there and check all that out. And then we'll be up in Washington, D.C. for 10 days doing the Smithsonian stuff. My kids are going to be historied out after this. They're going to get to see all kinds of cool stuff. And so it'll be a lot of fun. So between now and then, you guys have a wonderful week. We'll look forward to seeing you back here next week on The Word on the Street, powered by Lean Solutions Group. Great to see you guys again. Justin, thanks for coming, man. We need to sing some songs next time. I have no music today because I was scrambling, but next week I will have songs just for you, my friend.
Right.
All right, everybody. Have a good week. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.